Hello. So, there I was thinking about Crown Tundra, which comes out at some point, I think tomorrow, if I'm not much mistaken. And there's something that came out recently that, like, we never actually talked about on the channel, but I figured I should probably give my input on, because I do have an opinion on it. And that is legendary Pokemon. So, Crown Tundra, obviously, one of kind of the big features, for better or for worse, is that they're adding a bunch of legendary Pokemon. Sorry, they're adding every legendary Pokemon that was ever in a... If it's a legendary Pokemon in the game, it's being added to the Crown Tundra, or in the Crown Tundra. And one of the ways in which you can do that is via this Dynamax adventure, this kind of like spelunking, Battle Factory-esque adventure, basically, where you can go... Wait, what the heck? I'm not even on the right page, am I? Ah, here we go, okay. Yeah, through Pokemon dens with legendary Pokemon. So, yeah, like, this is one of the things you can see here. There's, like, rental Pokemon. I'm not entirely too familiar. There's, like, branching paths. Yeah, but as you can see, they're adding every legendary Pokemon to the game. Now, obviously, I have opinions about adding the legendary Pokemon back. Specific Pokemon like Xerneas, Landorus, I definitely could do without. Legendary Pokemon in general, they're not all equally, like, they're not all created equal. Pokemon like Articuno and Moltres are just garbage. Pokemon like Raikou are, like, decent, but not great. The Latis have fallen off. The Regis have never been especially good. The Sinnoh Lake Trio's never been very good. So, like, there's a lot of bad legendary Pokemon, but the good ones are really, really good. And, it's not the fact that they're legendary that bothers me, it's the fact that they tend to, dominate the metagames that they're in. It's not, like, I don't care if they're legendary or not, I just don't particularly like that they dominate I don't necessarily like the effect that they have on the game. Landorus is not as bad as it used to be, in my opinion, but Xerneas, I will always loathe the Xerneas, unless they take away its geomancy, and even then I'll probably have, like, yeah, still hate it just for the sake of it. But yeah, as you can see, it's a little tangent, the legendary Pokemon are all being added. Now, when I first saw this, I was like, okay, cool, like, legendary Pokemon are a Pokemon that you can't breed, and with any non-breedable Pokemon, like, it's always iffy because it can be really difficult to get the Pokemon with good IVs, or at least it used to be, to get, like, good IV, good nature, legendary Pokemon. And I was like, okay, well, they're adding legendary Pokemon. This is, like, at least this is a good gen for it, because, like, now we have the ability capsule, we have the hidden ability capsule, whatever that is actually called. We have bottle caps, we have nature mints. They've done a really good job in general of making Pokemon more accessible, right? Making the game a lot more, yeah, like accessible. The barrier to Pokemon should not be, I don't want to spend hours training my team, because, like, it shouldn't be, to get a competitive team, like, it shouldn't require, like, 12 hours, you know? It's too high of a barrier to entry. And so one of the things that I've really enjoyed about Pokemon is that over the years, as it's evolved, they've lowered the barrier more and more, between Ivy breeding, which, like, didn't used to be a thing. We used to have to, like, yeah, like, it was, like, way more difficult to actually get Pokemon with good IVs back in the day. And then, like, the addition of mints are really good to change natures, the addition of the ability patch to switch abilities, now the hidden ability patch, like, these are all really good. They've added a lot of quality of life features. Bottle caps are phenomenal. Like, you can catch any Pokemon in the wild and now effectively get it ready to train, like, to be trained up, provided it doesn't need, like, a 0-speed IV. But here's my issue. I don't know exactly where it's listed in here, but, here. Oh, no. They announced that each legendary Pokemon can only be caught once per game. So it's not like you can, it's like once for your game, and then you can join your friends' raids for Tapu Koko and get their Tapu Koko. It's each legendary Pokemon can only be caught once, like, in the game, period. And that I don't love this, and it's, like, in my opinion, an issue. I understand why they've done it. They don't want people to just farm, like, legendary Pokemon over and over, and, like, they are legendary, so they're supposed to feel unique. However, from a competitive standpoint, like, raid Pokemon are, like, they feel different, in a sense, than, like, main story game Pokemon, right? And also, like, people are going to be less incentivized to, like, do raids with each other if they aren't, like, incentivized to catch it, right? But the real thing, in my opinion, is, like, let's take a Pokemon like Cresselia, right? Let's say, so there's kind of, Cresselia wasn't that good in Generation 7, but in Generation 6 and 5, it was very, very good. And there were kind of two traditional ways to play Cresselia. You either use it as a Trick Room setter, and had it offer speed control that way, or you use it outside of Trick Room and you use moves like Icy Wind and Thunder Wave to offer speed control in that way. And those two Cresselias would play very differently. If you wanted to use Trick Room Cresselia, you needed 0 speed IVs, but if you wanted non-Trick Room Cresselia, then you wanted 31 speed IVs. I'm sure you see where this is going. If you're only allowed one Cresselia per game, Like, if you decide that you, like, if you're using, like, if you're using non-Trick Room Cresselia, so you decide you want Trick Room Cresselia, it's a lot hard. Now you need somebody else's Cresselia, and there's only one per game. So it's just, like, I don't love it, for obvious reasons. There's a lot of Pokemon that, like, in a format with legendary Pokemon, if you go to multiple events or you build multiple teams, you're often going to want to change, like, the way you use Pokemon. Like, one event you might bring max speed Kyogre, one event you might bring 0 speed Kyogre, right? Like, there's advantages to both. Pokemon like Heatran can work in Trick Room, and have worked in Trick Room and out of Trick Room. Pokemon like Tapu Bulu sometimes don't always want 31 speed IV. Pokemon like Necrozma and Solgaleo, like, depending on if they have Trick Room and Lunala, like, they don't always want 31 speed IV. There's a lot of Pokemon that, like, you are going to want to change the way that they're played. And additionally, like, even let's not even talk about speed IV for a second. Let's just talk about, like, I have a Specs Tapu Lele, and then which is bulky, and then I have a Scarf Tapu Lele, which is, like, all offensive. It's not easy to re-EV things in this game. Like, obviously they made it a bit easier with, like, Armorite Ore being able to, like, wipe EVs, and you can always use berries, but, like, if you have two different teams that use Tapu Lele, you're not going to want to retrain your Tapu Lele every time you want to use one of those teams, right? Like, it's nonsensical, right? Like, no one's going to want that. So, like, the fact that you can only catch each of these, like, legendary Pokemon once, and if they're banned, then I'll take it all back, right? Then I'll apologize. But I don't think they're going to be... I'm positive they won't be banned. Some of these legendary Pokemon will be legal. Actually, I think they announced that certain ones would be legal. And, like, it's one thing if you're like, okay, these are kind of like more of like a story Pokemon, like, you know, like, or like a, you know, like a mythical Pokemon, which, like, we're never going to be used in competitive, then I can get it, right? Then I'm like, all right, well, it's not relevant to competitive, so I don't really care. But the thing is that these Pokemon, some of them are going to be relevant to competitive, and, frankly, it's like, it's not ideal. Like, there's many Pokemon which you're going to want to be, you know, try different modes of, and to use, like, fundamentally different things. And if they had a 0 IV bottle cap, then I would say, okay, fine, I'll give it to you, right? Like, because then, at least then, you can, like, literally change everything about a Pokemon. Unless you want, like, a weird speed IV, like 17 speed IV, which I've used before, like, which makes sense with certain Pokemon, certain teams. That's so niche that we can forgive it, but 0 and 31 IV are pretty standard, right? Like, most Pokemon will have either a 0 IV or 31 speed or IV in a stat. Yeah, so, like, again, if you could change the IVs at will, and, like, then I would say, okay, fine, right? Like it's a drag to switch between teams. It's still not optimal. But the fact of the matter is that you can't have you can't make a Pokemon for 0 speed IV or a 0 IV in anything, right? There's no way to do that. And so if you later decide that after catching one of your Pokemon that you don't want a 31 speed IV and you've already bottle capped it, like, well, too bad. So it's a little frustrating because, like, I think Pokemon, the barrier to playing competitive Pokemon should not be I can't get the 0 speed Pokemon I want in the game, or, like, I've already caught my Pokemon, right? Getting the Pokemon should be very easy for competitive, in my opinion. And they have made really good strides towards that, but yeah, this is, in my opinion, like, not a great call. And I understand why they've done it from a casual perspective, but as a competitive player, I don't know. As a competitive player, like, it feels a little bit like, well, like, I'm going to have multiple teams that use the good legendary Pokemon, right? I'm going to use Landorus on more than one team. I'm probably going to use Heatran on more than one team, or Gigagigas maybe, even though it's not traditionally considered good, right? And then for someone like me, like, you know, like, am I going to have to retrain my Heatran every time I want to use it, like, in a different team? Or, like, what am I going to do if I want, like, you know, if I want to use Trick Room Heatran at one event, and then, like, next event I want to use regular Heatran, and the next event I want to use Trick Room Heatran again, right? Like, I'll be fine. Like, it's not really about me. Like, I'm lucky in that, like, I have friends who I can borrow Heatran from, right? But, like, there's many people who don't necessarily have access to, like, people who they can borrow legendaries from if they need to. And so that's all I'm saying. I don't know. I think that, like, if you're going to make these Pokemon locked, I don't know. Like, at least give us the ability to change the IVs. I guess the one thing is that you can always transfer these Pokemon over from past games and, like, just use those. And then, like, you know, wipe the EVs off them, or, like, you know, give them the battle ready mark. So it's not, I guess, like, it's not literally the end of the world, but that requires, you know, you to have the legendaries in the past game and to be willing to transfer them. So that's just my 2 cents. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. That's just what I think. I'm excited for the Crown Tundra. I hope that it's better than the Isle of Armor. That's my opinion. But we'll see tomorrow, I guess. So I'll probably stream it. So if you want to check out, you can come by my Twitch channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about this. If you don't care at all, let me know, because I care, but maybe I shouldn't care. So anyway, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.